Hello and welcome to the 2021 edition of New Election Inspector Training and Certification. This is going to be a relatively detailed overview and really encourage you to watch the additional videos on this channel that are going to really clarify the machine use along with the setup and closing of the machines and the entire poll site. So links should be on this screen or in the description below. So thanks for watching, and more importantly, thank you. You play an essential role in this process. There's a lot of you, there's a lot of districts, and the job is long and tiring. We know last year was maybe a little bit more stressful than everybody would have liked, but we couldn't do it without you. So thanks so much. We are here to help, and hope that we do. Here's some numbers, just what we're working with in Saratoga County, and come next year this should go up, and we're going to have even more early voting sites, probably 4 or 5. That's based on new laws, and the whole training should be a little bit different next year too, as there'll be some new changes to the electoral process. Just a quick little run through what we've got. Coming up in November is the general election, and in June we had the primary, and all of these are always 6 a.m. to 9 p.m., but here's a little slide that highlights the major differences that some people might ask you questions about, or just a little refresher for yourself. When you are done with this video and you take the test, we'll make sure that you sign a voucher and mail it to us after watching our training videos. We will get you paid $25 for this. And if you're a new inspector, you will have to sign the oath of office. So reach out to us and we will get one to you any way that you would like, either mail or email. On the day of the election, if there's any changes that need to be made on the vouchers, we'll have some sticky notes in there, and you can let us know, for example, if you didn't work a full day. These are your basic responsibilities, the sort of larger overview. Checking in voters, explaining the procedures to anybody who requests assistance, setting up and closing down the machines, and just maintaining general order in the polling place. Really encourage you to take your time. There's no need to rush. Your presence should make voters confident in the system. So take your time, be careful, and everybody will leave the polling site happy. We hope that you can arrive at least 30 minutes before the polls open. You're going to need this time to set up. You will all have to stay until the bags are picked up at the end of the night. And just treat each other and everyone else with respect and kindness. Do unto others, as they say. You're welcome to bring food. We do not provide any, and unfortunately, we don't provide I voted stickers. But life will go on, I suppose. And as I said, just be good to each other. Work as a team. Please avoid any political materials. And just use your time smartly and wisely. For your time, you will be paid. For this upcoming general, it is $190 for the full day, as well as $25 for passing this certification and watching this training. You will have blank vouchers that will come in the supply bag, and just keep in mind that we will not be starting to process the payments for these until after the election is recanvassed. So this could take a little bit, so please be patient with us, but you will, in fact, get paid. There's going to be a lot of vouchers. I think there's roughly 800, so thanks for your patience. As for your assignments, each town has a coordinator for each political party, either Republican and Democrats, and the coordinators will be reaching out to you to schedule you. There are some towns that do not have Republican or Democrat coordinators, in which case our office will be reaching out to find people to work the different days, represent the Democrat side. Early voting this year is the 23rd to the 31st of October. All of the times and hours are on our website, and of course the general election is November 2nd from 6 to 9. Not all of the traditional polling places that people know of as their election day polling space will be open for early voting, but the 3 sites this year will be the Clifton Park Half Moon Library, our offices in Ballston Spa, and Gavin Park in Wilton. And these are the times. They change day by day, but there is a connecting theme that runs through them. So maybe hard to memorize, but feel free to take a picture of this slide or just jot the times down.
Next up, we have procedures before the polls open. Upon arrival to poll site, call if the facilities are locked or an inspector is absent or sick. We are always available to take your phone call, but be mindful if you arrive early, doors are not expected to be unlocked 30 minutes before polls open. The morning of the election, we provide inventory, which includes a blue supply bag. The blue supply bag contains all the necessary supplies to open the polls. Inside, you'll have a checklist, which will be on top in the bag and should be used to make sure you have everything you need. The next slide will be a video showing supplies within this blue bag. Inside your blue supply bag, you will have an American flag to place on display, a checklist will be on top of the bag. This is your green affidavit bag. Don't open it unless needed. You have your 4 envelopes, your banded, your unscanned, your spoiled, and write-in ballot folders. This is your binder. Keep all your instructions inside. Your steno pad for you to make any notes necessary. Your district marker sign. Distance marker and polling place signs. Your pay vouchers. Sample ballots for voters. A supply bag and ballot marking pens. Your event sheets. Your red pouch, which at the end of the night you'll put your memory card inside. Your absentee ballot bag. A magnifier. Closing seals. Your keys and your I button. An emergency poll book. Within the blue bag, you have the supply binder. The front of the binder will display your town and district. The binder will contain all paperwork instructions needed for the day. It also lists a table of contents with 3 tabs and a front and back pocket. We also provide you with electronic poll books, also known as e-poll books, blue unused ballot bags, which contain the ballot booklets, the red voted bag, which arrives empty, your privacy sleeves, blank ballot paper for the BMDs only. The iPads will be deployed with the machines. Before the polls open, 1 inspector from the Republican Party and 1 from the Democrat Party must be present to begin opening the polls. 2 inspectors, 1 from each side, set up the machine while the other 2 check and display supplies. If any supplies are missing, please call the Board of Elections immediately. For example, the team who opened the machine in the morning should put supplies back in the blue supply bag at night, and vice versa. Displayed is a list of people allowed at opening. Most likely, it will just be you, all, and maybe someone from the building. Just go about your business and get the machine set up. If anything gives you cause for concern, please give us a ring. Each polling site will have scanners and BMDs to set up in the morning and use throughout the day. The two styles of voting machines are scanner only and a scanner with a ballot marking device, also known as a BMD. The BMD is always assigned to the lowest number district in each poll site. These are specifically for voters with physical disabilities, but any voter may use the BMD. The checklist instructions should describe everything in the right order. This will cover some of the basics, but for real details, please watch or rewatch our video that goes over the machines. As always, if on the morning of you have a question, just give us a call and we'll walk you through it. Inside your blue supply bag is a small manila envelope. This contains voting machine keys and I-button, your yellow security seal report, your poll site layout, and replacement seals. Your voting machine number on the side of your machine should match the number on your voting machine key and I-button. If they do not match, please call the Board of Elections. Your voting machine key and I-button will be clearly labeled. The number on the key should match the number on the side of your voting machine. This next slide shows a picture of the yellow security seal report, which can be found in your manila envelope. Our machine techs have sealed your machine and recorded the numbers on the yellow security seal report. Verify the seal numbers and report any broken or voided seals to the Board of Elections immediately. The security seal report must be signed by all inspectors, 2 in the morning and 2 at the close of polls. Next, you will power on the machine. After the machine is powered up and ready, it will begin to beep. Place the security I button on the security pad. It may take a couple of tries. The I button must be flat against the pad. The machine will stop beeping and will briefly show a message, key accepted. You will then enter your password and hit enter. Verify your date and time are correct, and machine will go through a checklist process. Your admin menu will appear and you will click open poll. You will then print your zero or status report. Print a zero report and then your machine will display system ready. Make sure ballot cast says 0. You are now ready to begin processing voters. There is also a detailed training video showing how to open and close machines if you aren't familiar. This next slide shows an example of a zero report. You want to make sure your tape says your correct voting location and that there are no votes on the tape. You'll also verify your town and district on the tape. Verify that the serial number found at the bottom of the tape matches the ballot scanner's serial number located at the right-hand side of the scanner. Call the Board of Elections if this does not match. All 4 inspectors must sign the bottom of the zero tape, then put the tape in the small red pouch. Your ballot booklet transmittal sheet. Your ballot inventory must be confirmed at the transmittal sheet before the polls open. For primaries, each party ballot booklets must be inventoried on the correct color-coded transmittal sheet. The next slide shows an example of a transmittal sheet. The top will be filled out already by our machine techs. The bottom must be filled out by inspectors. This is how we will keep track of all of the ballots. And if you need help filling out this transmittal sheet, please call the Board of Elections. Next up will be your e-poll book setup. So you want to power on the e-poll book either by plugging it in or holding down the power button on the left-hand side. Press the circular home button on the right then press the icon indicated by the large arrow. Once the e-pollbook software has been opened, remember to sign in before processing voters. Only one inspector needs to sign in. A reminder, there is also a more detailed video about this on our YouTube page. Please watch it if this is your first time or you want more detailed refresher course. Arranging your poll site. A poll site layout diagram is in the small manila envelope. Privacy booths must be positioned so that people cannot walk behind a voter as they are marking their ballot. The booths should be at 24 to 30 inches apart. Also, tape is provided in your supply bag. One inspector will use this tape to mark a line on the floor at a minimum of 5 feet from the scanner of the voting machine. This line is where voters will wait to insert their ballot, as well as where inspectors assisting a voter at the machine should stand. We also provide sample ballots and voter bill of rights. These can be found in your blue supply bag. You want to display the sample ballots, the voter's bill of rights, so they can easily be seen by voters. Also, your election polling place signs and your distance marker signs. You want to post the distant marker signs 100 feet from the site entrance. There is also no campaigning or electioneering allowed within the 100-foot area. The election place polling sign, you want to post this outside of the building to assist voters in locating the voting site. What is electioneering? Within 100 distance markers, no one, including election inspectors, poll watchers, or voters, is allowed to electioneer. Also, no vehicle displaying election material can be parked within the 100 distance marker. There also may be a poll watcher that shows up to your polling site that day. A poll watcher must present a watcher certificate and may observe the opening and closing of the polls. Observe voting and challenge a voter. Information and procedures on watchers are covered in your inspector handbook if needed.
Now we'll be going through check-in procedures and how to process voters. Processing voters. First, greet the voter, ask for their voter's name and residence, confirm that the address is on file and that it is their current address. Find the voter name in the poll book and have the voter sign in the signature box. Only will you ask for ID if it indicates ID required. Once you have seen the ID, the voter may sign and vote. If the voter is unable to provide acceptable ID, they may vote by affidavit. Find the name in the e-poll book by searching for the voter's name using the first 3 letters of their first and last name. Once you find that in the e-poll book, have the voter sign in the signature box. If you cannot find the voter in the e-poll book, try using another search approach. Ask for their date of birth, ask if they have changed their name, or if they're at a different address. If you have no luck, please call the Board of Elections for help. We'll be glad to walk you through that. Once you find their name, click the green button, follow the green path on the e-poll book, and again, only ask for ID if it indicates ID required. If they are unable to provide that ID or acceptable form of identification, they cannot vote. They will have to vote by affidavit ballot or come back with the acceptable ID. Here you will find a list of acceptable IDs. It could be a driver's license, photo ID, passport, or even a current utility bill. If the voter does not have a proper identification, the voter can leave and then go get the proper ID. The voter cannot sign the poll book. They come back with acceptable ID. They then show that ID, sign the poll book, and vote on the machine. For voter address changes, after verifying the name, make sure you confirm their address, and if the address has changed, please call the Board of Elections for the correct district and poll site. If the voter has moved within the district, you will then record the new address on the event sheet, and they are allowed to vote on the machine. If the voter has moved out of district, you will need to fill out a blue transfer slip with the correct poll site and district. After confirming the poll site and district for the address change, you will fill out the blue transfer slip. You will then take that blue transfer slip to the new correct poll site and district, hand it to the inspector, and they will vote by affidavit ballot. In this case, you do not need to call the Board of Elections. This is the example of the blue transfer slip that can be found in your binder. If you cannot find voter or voter ineligible, are they in the correct, check to see if they're in the correct election district. If it's a primary, if they're enrolled in that primary, ask the voter if they could be under a different name, verify your spelling of your name, provide the voter with the notice to voter statements. Call the Board of Elections for voter verification. Voter is able to vote either by affidavit or court order depending on the BOE's directions. Voter name change. Board of Elections can only change a voter's name to exactly what they sign in the new box. If the voter does not want their name hyphenated, do not have them sign that way. Have the voter sign new name in the blank signature box. Print old name and new name on the event sheet so the BOE is able to read and change it for the next election. Voter is okay to vote on the machine. Voting absentee. If the e-poll book indicates voting absentee, voter is still allowed to sign in and vote on machine. Voter's absentee ballot will be pulled before the ballots are counted. The Board of Elections runs a list of absentee ballots and cross-checks them to who voted in person, and the voter's absentee ballot will be pulled before absentees are counted. This is an example of your event sheet. Enter changes on the event sheet. This includes address and name changes, challenges, assistance provided, affidavits, and court orders. You'll make all these changes on this sheet. If there's any questions, please call the Board of Elections. Our phone number will be listed on the binder. Be prepared to tell us the town, the election district you are calling from, the voter's name, the voter's date of birth, the voter's address. When signing in the voters, we ask that you only sign in 3 voters at a time, so every ballot is accounted for. Once the voter has casted their ballot in the machine, you may start signing in more voters. Issuing ballots. Starting with the lowest numbered ballot booklet and going in order, gently remove a ballot from the ballot booklet. Tell the voter to color in the circles completely and to check both sides of the ballot in case there are propositions on the back side of the ballot. You will then place the ballot in a privacy folder and hand it to the voter. Direct the voter to the privacy booth to complete the ballot. Make sure a privacy booth is open before signing in the next voter. And remember, do not sign in more than 3 at a time. You want to be sure to remind the voter to wait till the machine says successfully cast before leaving. Privacy. Inspectors must place the ballot in a privacy folder before handing to the voter. This is a New York State law. If the voter hands back the folder, that is okay. Never take a ballot from the voter unless the voter asks for assistance or requests another ballot, in which case you must. All answers to questions by voters should be done verbally by the inspector from the table or outside the marked line unless asked to help further. Special voting procedures. For write-in votes, a voter may cast a write-in for any office and for a person whose name does not appear on the ballot for that office. The write-in ballots are found in the front compartment of the machine and are not to be rescanned or mixed with the regular ballots when removing at the end of the night. Write-in ballots are to be placed in the write-in folder at the end of the night after the polls close. Voting by affidavit ballot. Please call the Board of Elections first before issuing an affidavit ballot so we can make sure they are in the correct district and poll site. If you cannot find the voter in the e-poll book and they claim to be registered voter in the election district, please call the Board of Elections. If in a primary, the voter claims to be enrolled in a party holding the primary but are not found in the e-poll book, please notify the Board of Elections. If the voter needs to show ID but didn't bring any, if a voter is currently registered in the county but has recently moved into your district, please notify the Board of Elections and we'll instruct you to issue the affidavit ballot. The only time you may issue an affidavit without calling the Board of Elections is if they present you with a blue transfer slip. This is the example of the affidavit bag. This will be a green bag in your supply bag. It'll be sealed with an orange seal. Only break the seal when needed. Do not reseal it at the end of the night. Please be sure to issue a ballot from the affidavit green bag and not from the ballot booklet. Instruct the voter to fill out the envelope and ballot completely. Place the voted ballot in the envelope and seal it. The inspector must write the town and district on the bottom of the affidavit envelope. Completed affidavits should be put in the green bag. And just a reminder, once again, do not seal the green bag at the end of the night. You must then record that information on your event sheet. Voting by court order. To obtain a court order, a voter must contact the Board of Elections. We will have specific dates, times that either you need to go see the judge or you can come to our office to obtain a court order. The Board of Elections will be able to provide you with that information. If the voter presents a court order to you, they must vote on the machine. Have the voter print their name and sign it on the court order. Tear out the next ballot from the booklet, place the court order in the front pocket of the supply binder. Record that information on the event sheet. Accessibility. Each poll site has a ballot marking device, a BMD, which is always assigned to the lowest number election district in a poll site. The BMD allows voters with disabilities to vote independently. However, any voter may use this machine if they want. Scanner voting machines are accessible to those in wheelchairs. Be sure and watch our video on our YouTube page on how to properly use the BMD. For voter assistance, any person, including the inspector, one from each party, can help assist a voter. They must first take the oath, which can be found on the e-poll book after selecting assistant needed. Their boss or union leader cannot assist. A power of attorney cannot sign and vote in place of the voter, but may assist. Remember to accord all voter assistance on the event sheet. Challenging a voter. A voter's eligibility can be challenged at a poll site by an inspector, a poll watcher, or any other voter. Reasons for challenging a voter may be the voter is believed not to reside at their registered address. Someone else is using the same name, has already voted. Voter is believed to have already voted. Do not challenge a voter just because they have never voted in your district or you do not personally know the voter. The challenge must occur before the voter inserts their ballot into the machine. Before challenging the voter, please call the Board of Elections. If challenging the voter, you must first administer the preliminary oath and have the voter fill out that part of the challenge form. If filled out, the 4 inspectors will then decide if the person is telling the truth. If the vote ends in a tie, the tie goes to the voter. The inspectors will then administer the qualification oath to the voter, who will decide to sign it or not. If the voter signs both parts of the form, they must be allowed to vote on the machine. If the person is being challenged refuses to sign one or both oaths, they may not vote on the machine and can vote by affidavit ballot. If the voter signs both oaths, but you are sure they are lying, they still must be allowed to vote on the machine, and the BOE will deal with it after the election is over.
Now we're going to cover some of the emergencies and special situations that might come up over the course of a day. Most of the special situations will involve ballots and the machines and machine breakdown. But of course, the biggest emergency that could come up is somebody's injured, in which case call 911. Please let us know after that, but to be sure, first call is always to emergency services. Non-human related, non-danger related, if a machine breaks down, give us a call or give the custodian a call. You can go through these slides and have some basic ideas of how to fix the machine, and otherwise we'll walk you through it. So again, if the machine breaks down, you're going to want to call the Board of Elections immediately. You can continue to issue ballots from your booklet, but only remove the seal if you need to use the emergency compartment. There'll be a key to open that, and you can instruct voters to insert their completed ballot into the compartment and assure them that their ballot will be scanned and votes will be counted at the close of polls. As soon as the voting machine is working again, close and relock the emergency compartment door and inform us, let us know. And ballots will remain in that emergency compartment until the end of the night. And of course, what of the dreaded ballot jam? Feel free to call us and we will walk you through this, but the first thing you're going to want to do is take a look at the LCD screen on the machine, which should tell you exactly what's going on. One inspector from each party should approach, and ideally it will give you a display on how to fix it. Always just proceed carefully. Remember that all ballots have to be counted. If the screen reads that results have been saved, then that ballot has been cast, and all you need to do is place it in the voted ballot compartment of the machine. If the screen reads that the results have not been saved, the ballot has not been cast, so the voter will need to either try to reinsert the ballot into the machine, or you can issue them a new ballot through the spoiled ballot process. So if they do want a new ballot and you want to spoil that first one, you can take that and file that in the spoiled ballot envelope, and get them a new one for the machine. And another thing that might come up is the voter could get different screen prompts as opposed to ones that just say ballot cast successfully. If a voter makes a mistake on their ballot, the screen will explain it. You can give helpful information from the table, or if the voter is at the machine, from behind the red tape demarcation line. Some of the mistakes could be an overvote, where a voter has voted for more candidates than the race allows. The vote will not be counted for either candidate in that situation. A double vote. A voter has selected their candidate on each party line that they appear. So in that case, the vote will be counted once, but only on the highest party line. For example, if they vote for the Republican, the same person on both the Republican and conservative lines, that vote would only count on the Republican line. And of course, the always ambiguous marks. That means that there's stray marks on the ballot. Circles were not fully colored in, or the voter made check marks instead of coloring in the circles. And that means the vote was not counted, as the machine could not read it. It's up to the voter to decide if they would like to cast their ballot or remove it and get a new one. In order to get a new ballot, though, of course the voter must give their original ballot back to the inspectors first, where you would write spoiled or void in large letters on both sides and file it in the spoiled envelope. Here's just some more information about that. They're allowed up to 3 different ballots. If the voter makes a mistake on their third ballot, you will have to place that ballot in the unscanned folder that's provided. With abandoned ballots, there are 2 different kinds that you would come across. Ones that will be scanned, and those are ones that are found hanging out at the machine. We know that the voter's intent was to vote that ballot, so they will be placed. They will then be put into the machine with an inspector from the opposite party. And if the machine cannot take the ballot or will not take the ballot, you will have to put that into the unscanned folder. Ballots that will not be scanned are ballots that are found anywhere other than at or in the voting machine, anywhere else in the building. We don't know what the voter's intent was with that ballot, nor do we know how that ballot got there, in which case we are just going to write abandoned on it and place it in the abandoned folder.
Last but not least, we have closing the polls. At 9 p.m., one inspector will announce that the polls are closed. Anyone in line at 9 o'clock is allowed to vote. After the last voter, you may proceed to close the polls. If the emergency compartment was used that day, remember, please remove your ballots. One inspector from each party will unlock and remove the ballots from the emergency compartment and scan them. Any ballots that cannot be scanned must be placed in the unscanned envelope. Then you may proceed to close by placing and holding the I button on the keypad. This will then bring up the administrative menu. Choose Close Poll option. When you see this screen, are you certain you wish to close the polls? Select yes, and the machine will print the result tape. All inspectors must sign result tape. The screen will automatically return to the administrative menu, and you will then press power down, and your machine will be shut down. Removing your voted ballots. You want to first check your write-in compartment and place any write-ins in your envelope. Do not scan these ballots. Your voted ballots will go in your red ballot bag. You want to place your write-in, unscanned, abandoned, and spoiled envelopes on top of your voted ballots in the red bag. Be sure you have counted how many in each folder for the transmittal sheet. Please complete the ballot transmittal sheet. Of course, if you have any questions, please give us a call. You want to close and lock the red and blue ballot bags and record lock numbers on the ballot transmittal sheet. Seal the ballot box door and record the seal number on the security seal report. Here's an example of what your ballot transmittal sheet looks like. The top will be already filled out for you. And again, if you have any questions, please give us a call. Here is a little breakdown of how to read a BMD results tape. BMDs are only in the lowest numbered district in that poll site. The BMD can take any ballot from any district in that poll site. Please refer to our voting machine video for a more detailed description. Next, we move on to the poll worker memory card. You want to make sure the machine is completely shut down and unplugged before pulling your memory card. Break the lock on the poll worker memory card slot, remove the card, then relock and record lock number on security seal report. Place the memory card and results tape in the red pouch that should already contain the 0 report, then relock. Sealing your voting machine. Replace any seals that were removed during the day, unless they are not supposed to be resealed once opened. Record all seal and lock numbers on the yellow security seal report. All 4 inspectors must sign the security seal report, 2 in the morning, the other 2 in the evening. After shutting down your machine, you want to sign these 5 things: your 0 tape, results tape, ballot transmittal sheet, yellow security seal sheet, and vouchers. When packing up, you want to make sure in the small red pouch you have your poll worker card, your signed 0 and results tape, in the small manila envelope, voting machine key and I button, yellow security seal report, ballot transmittal sheet, poll site layout. In the green affidavit bag, you want your voted and unvoted affidavit ballots and transferred slips. Also, the red pouch, manila envelope, green bag, and all other supplies that came in the blue supply bag in the morning go back in the blue supply bag at the end of the night. Don't forget, in the red ballot bag, the voted ballots from the machine, unscanned envelope, abandoned envelope, spoiled voided envelope, and your write-in envelope. In the blue bag are the unvoted ballots. The electronic poll books will be repacked in their case and stored in the sealed ballot compartment of the machine. And that concludes the election inspector training. We want to thank each and every one of you for your dedicated service with Saratoga County and your interest in becoming election inspectors. We couldn't do this without you.